Right here we have my ice auger bits. You know, the teeth. I like it where it's like this. The teeth are serrated instead of having it where it's a smooth blade. Because the smooth blade, it gets iced up and all that, and then you have to put a lot of pressure down on them for them to cut. Well, this one, you just put the weight of the ice auger on the ground, or not on the ground, on the ice, and just go right through. And reason why you know when any ice auger gets dull is that it'll shake you. You're gonna go through the ice real slow. So what I do is I grind them on both sides to make a sharp surface, and I have the same angle as I did before, that I had before, on each blade. This one is my main blade that goes right here. Well, it actually goes like that. Up in here. But, anyways. It goes like this, and then it goes all the way around. And then I have two more. One right here, one right here. This one keeps it so it stays still on the ice in the one point instead of flopping all up around everywhere. And then, you know, this is Jiffy Stealth right here. This is a Jiffy Stealth. Good machine. Runs good. Couple pulls, starts right up. And then you got your little, to let the air out. You know, right here, just take your little gasket. Open it up and everything. Just when you're going to start it, open it up and all that. Then you turn your switch on, put the choke, then decompression if you're a wimp. If you're not, pull it over like that, turn off like that when you're done. And then, you know, you got to keep, what I do is, because, you know, everybody puts their thing in their garage. Well, you work in your garage and all the dust gets up. So I take a plastic bag, put it over top of this when I'm storing it. And then I put a grain bag on top of that. So that keeps everything right up here safe so it doesn't get junked up on the inside with sawdust and all that. And then I use my bench grinder, which is securely fastened to my table. And I have my little protection piece right here. And this one magnifies it. This one has a magnification part on it. And I just put my angle. Make it nice and flat on each tube on the bad handling part. Then, so you don't bend them when you put them back in, because they're hot right now. They're easy to bend when they're hot. I dip them in like oil or water. Usually water first, and then you wipe them off, because the oil will burn if it's too hot. So I put it in water, and then I go from there after it's dry. Put it in oil so that these don't rust out on you. Just put it like a, you know, you gotta put it like vegetable oil. Don't put it in, you know, motor oil, because you're fishing. You don't want the motor oil getting into the water, do you? No. So you put vegetable oil. Same as if you're using a chainsaw to cut through the ice for going smelting to cut your hole. Instead of using bar and chain oil, you take it and you put vegetable oil in it. And there you go. Same as if it's a brand new chainsaw. If you're going to go cut a moose, if you have to, cut a moose with that, don't put bar and chain because you'll ruin the meat. Go put your vegetable oil in it. It'll be just fine. Because I know dinglings have done that, or they've run their chainsaw without it in it. Without any, you know, bar and chain lubricant. Which I use, you know, the vegetable oil when I'm cutting the animals. And I don't really like using chainsaw anyways. I use a Sawzall or something like that. And then, after you've done these ones, you know, they're all sharp and everything. I'm talking about, and you see whether they're even. Once they get to here, they ought to be pretty even on the level on it. And if they're level like these ones are, you take these ones put away, and then you work on these ones. So I've already worked on these ones, so I didn't have to show you everything. But you do it the same way as you do that one. Everything. These ones are at I believe, a 45. Because these ones start ripping first. all three of those are evenly ground to each other. And now all I do is put them back on. Now, also, what I do is I go out back and I drill these holes, you know, everything, because I go out back and get bait from the swamp and everything, so I can, you know, so I can use that bait from when I go fishing. I will show you, you know, later on my, you know, where I go fishing and everything like that, and what I look for when I'm fishing. That'll be a later video coming up probably after Christmas, and you'll enjoy that. So I usually catch some nice bass and stuff, and I like catching trout and everything. But right there in the lake near here, there isn't too many trout. There are some nice browns in there. You gotta know where you're going and everything, and you'll catch, you know, 1 to 2 a day, you know, if you're lucky and everything. And I'll show you that. And then also, you know, I'll show you if anything happens to this. You gotta change the spark plugs. I usually change them once every year. My spark plug in for it. And also, what you gotta watch out for is, since this is close to here, it'll heat up right here, and if any metal comes across here, like if you put anything there, it'll burn your spark plug wire. Also, what I like to do is after you pull this out, I go in there and I check the gap with my tools and everything. And then also, before I try starting it up, I always make sure this is down all the way as far as it can be. And then I've made mistakes where I've actually taken tools and started turning it down when I first began, and I stripped out stuff like that. You don't do that. I learned that was an expensive mistake. See, you learn by experience. I learned by my brothers. Sometimes I also learn from my own, which isn't good. But you know, $200 mistake. But no, I've never done this. I did on one of the four-wheelers before when I was about 10 years old, and never doing that again. But also, you know, when I mix this one is, let me see. Where you're looking on this, it'll tell you how much you mix it to. It'll say it right up, you know, either on your steps right here, up the top of the gas tank, or it'll show it off to the side. And then you gotta read your owner's manual and all that. But, you know, I try to keep it so it doesn't get hurt or anything. And these will last you a long, you know, ice augers usually last a long time. I remember when we were doing it with the hand one. That took forever, I tell you what. You never put out 20 traps. You put maybe 5 out, and that's it. You were done. You were too tired to do anymore. Now you can put out 20, 25 traps and be just fine. In Maine, you can only put out 5 a person and everything. And, you know, most of us, we have our ice shacks out there, and we bring a bunch of people out, and we all go. We have tournament days and everything, and those are fun days. Now, I'm Ivan Boyer. Be safe. Bring kid hunting with you. Bring them fishing with you. And also, wait till it's really safe to bring. If you gotta bring the truck out in the ice, if you have to bring the truck out in the ice, wait till it's, you know, after you've seen some other guys doing it, and after you yourself have checked it with your auger. Because certain spots, you know, I check everywhere all the way to the length to my ice shack and all around it before anything, because in one spot it may be thick, but the other spots it ain't. And also, early in the season, don't go near any moving water or anything like that, with, you know, getting on it and all that stuff. And I have a lot of guys, you know, I know a lot of guys, they plow the ice and everything, and they start off early in the season and everything, and usually good, you know, and everything. But one guy, he did it a little too early, and he went through the ice, but he made it out luckily. But there was a kid that drove across China Lake here in Maine, and didn't make it. He drove across it with his snowmobile at night because he was trying to get home quicker, and he went through, didn't find his body until 2 fishermen this summer found his body, well, caught his body with their fishing poles, and you know, his parents were worried and everything for a long time, and then they just gave up because there was no hope. And once you go through that water, current drag you right under and you're done. So be safe. And you know, recently we lost one of our friends he started up a bonfire, and he died because one of his friends was using gas, and he dumped the gas in there, and it lit up while he was holding it, and he burnt the guy's hand. So he tossed the gas can, and it went to one of my friends that at the time I wasn't anywhere near there, and I was at home, and they were doing their own thing somewhere else, and he tossed the gas can. The other buddy caught it, and he got lit on fire and burnt and died. So be careful with all that stuff. And let your parents light the fire. And if anything, don't use gasoline. Use kerosene or diesel or something like that, because diesel doesn't explode. Gasoline explodes. Alright? Same with lighter fluid. Don't use that either. Alright? Lighter fluid may be good for starting to grill, but nothing more. Alright? I'm Ivan Boyer. Be safe.